My name is Joe Rivers, and what I'm about to tell you will change how you look at love forever. Sometimes the person you trust most becomes the person you should fear most. This is Michael Taylor, 32 years old, a father of 5, a man who worked 3 jobs just to make his family smile. A man who saved every single penny to give his wife something she'd been dreaming about her whole life. These pictures were taken during what should have been the happiest week of Michael's life. He's smiling. She's smiling. They look like the perfect couple living their best life. But something was very, very wrong. 2 days after this photo was taken, Michael was dead. Not from an accident, not from sickness, not from anything you'd expect. Michael died because someone he loved more than life itself decided his life didn't matter. And when that person got caught, when they sat in a courtroom facing serious charges, they did something that shocked everyone in that room. Something that showed their true nature. Something that will make your blood run cold. This is a story about sacrifice and betrayal. About a man who gave everything to someone who gave him nothing but pain in return. About 5 innocent children who witnessed something no child should ever see. This is Michael's story, and trust me, you have no idea where this is going. But before we dive into this heartbreaking case, I need you to do something for me. If stories like this matter to you, then hit that subscribe button right now. Ring that notification bell. Because here at Daily Family Crimes, we don't just tell stories, we remember the forgotten, and we make sure that the truth never gets buried. Now, let's talk about how a dream vacation became a nightmare that ended in death. The church was packed that day, April 25, 2025. 5 little kids in the front row crying for their daddy who would never come home. Michael's mother, Miss Linda, sitting there like her whole world had ended, because it had. But let me take you back to when Michael was alive. When he was the kind of man every woman claims she wants, but most don't know how to love. Michael was 32. Not the tallest guy, not the richest guy, but he had something special. A heart bigger than Texas and hands that never stopped working. He got up at 5 in the morning for his first job, came home, played with his kids, then went to his second job. On weekends, he did odd jobs around the neighborhood. 3 jobs. You'll hear me? 3 jobs because Michael had 5 mouths to feed and a woman who liked nice things. That woman was Kemisha Stone, 35 years old, loud, the kind of woman who walked into a room and everyone knew she was there. She had this way of talking. Confident, demanding, like the world owed her something. Now, I'm not here to judge how a woman looks or acts, but I am here to tell you the truth. And the truth is, while Michael was breaking his back working 3 jobs, Kemisha was posting on Instagram about her blessed life. Look at these posts. My man treats me like a queen. I don't cook. I don't clean, but I stay pretty. He does everything for me. Everything. She wasn't lying about that part. Michael paid every bill. Michael cooked most dinners. Michael helped the kids with homework after working 14-hour days. Michael cleaned the house on his 1 day off. And Michael, he loved it. He loved taking care of her. He loved being needed. He loved being the man who could make his woman happy. But here's what those pretty pictures didn't show. Here's what Kemisha never posted about. The fights, the screaming matches, the nights when Michael slept on the couch because he made her mad. See, Michael wasn't just working 3 jobs to pay bills. He was working 3 jobs to keep peace in his house. Because when Kemisha was unhappy, everybody was unhappy. And Michael would do anything to keep his family together, even when keeping them together was killing him. Michael and Kemisha's story started when they were teenagers. She was 18 when she had their first baby. They moved in together in a tiny apartment, 2 bedrooms for what would eventually become 7 people, Michael, Kemisha, and 5 kids. The walls were thin, the money was tight, and the pressure was crushing. Now, I want you to imagine being a teenager with a baby, barely finishing high school, trying to figure out how to pay rent. Most people would crack under that pressure. Most people would fight. But Michael and Kimisha, they didn't just fight. They went to war. Miss Linda, Michael's mama, she saw things. Things that made her stomach hurt. Things that made her pray every night for her son. One day, she came by to visit. Michael was in the kitchen making sandwiches for the kids. He reached up to get something from the cabinet and his sleeve rolled up. Miss Linda saw marks, dark marks on his arms, finger-shaped bruises on his wrists. "Baby," she said, "what happened to your arms?" Michael pulled his sleeve down quick. "Nothing, Mema. I fell, was fixing the sink, and fell." But Miss Linda wasn't born yesterday. She'd seen bruises before. She knew the difference between falling down and being hurt by someone you love. What Miss Linda didn't know was that the abuse had started on their very first anniversary. Michael had surprised Kimisha with a necklace he'd saved up for months to buy. But instead of gratitude, she exploded because it wasn't the expensive bracelet her friend had gotten. That night, for the first time, she hit him. And when he didn't hit back, when he just stood there taking it, she realized she had power over him. Power she would use for the next 16 years. The truth was, Kimisha had a temper, a bad one. When she got mad, and she got mad about everything, she didn't just yell. She threw things. She pushed. She hit, she grabbed, and Michael never hit back. Not once. Because his mema raised him to never put his hands on a woman. Even when that woman was putting her hands on him. The cycle was always the same. Fight, make up, fight worse, make up harder. Michael thought this was normal. He thought this was love. His phone got broken 3 times in 2 years. "I dropped it," he'd tell people. But you don't drop a phone hard enough to shatter it into pieces. Someone throws it. Someone stomps on it. Someone uses it as a weapon. The neighbors heard them fighting through those thin walls. Everyone heard everything. Yelling, crying, things crashing, then silence, then music playing loud like nothing happened. Miss Linda tried to talk to her son. "Baby, this ain't right. Love don't leave marks. Love don't break things." But Michael would always defend Kimisha, always. "She's just stressed, Mama. She's got 5 kids to worry about. She don't mean it. She loves me."
If you're enjoying this story, kindly do us a favor and subscribe to our channel. It is free and won't cost anything, but it means the world to us. We're just a small channel trying to grow. Thank you, and back to the video.
And maybe she did love him. But here's the thing about love. Real love don't hurt. Real love don't leave bruises. Real love don't make you afraid to come home. But Michael was afraid. He was afraid to say the wrong thing. Afraid to come home late. Afraid to spend money on himself, afraid to make her mad. He was walking on eggshells in his own house, and everyone could see it except him. What nobody knew, not even Miss Linda, was that Michael had been secretly recording some of the abuse on his phone. Not to use against Jamaica, but to send to his brother in another state, the only person who knew the full truth. Michael's brother had been begging him to leave for years, even offering to help him start over. But Michael couldn't abandon his children, and he truly believed Jamaica would change if he just loved her enough. The worst part? Michael thought he deserved it. Thought if he just worked harder, loved harder, gave more, she'd stop being angry, stop being violent, stop hurting him. So he worked that 3rd job, saved every penny, planned something special, something that would prove once and for all how much he loved her. Something that would end up costing him his life. But let me tell you about the other side of Michael's life. The side that made him who he was. The side that made everyone love him. Michael wasn't just a victim. He was a hero to his kids. Every morning before he left for his first job, he made sure they had breakfast. Every night when he came home tired and sore, he helped with homework. He never missed a school play, a soccer game, or a parent-teacher conference. His co-workers loved him, too. At the construction site, Michael was the guy who brought donuts on Friday. At the restaurant, he was the one who stayed late to help the new servers learn the menu. At the landscaping company, he was the one who always volunteered for the hardest jobs because that's who Michael was. A giver, a helper, a man who put everyone else first. His friends tried to warn him about Jamaica. They saw the changes in him over the years, how he got quieter, how he stopped going out, how he always had excuses for why he couldn't hang out. But Michael would just smile and say, "You don't understand. She needs me. The kids need me. This is what family looks like." And maybe he was right. Maybe that's what his family looked like. But it wasn't what love was supposed to look like. Jamaica. Paradise on earth. White sand beaches, crystal blue water. The kind of place people dream about visiting their whole lives. For Jamaica, Jamaica wasn't just a dream. It was an obsession. She posted about it constantly, shared other people's vacation pictures, talked about how she deserved to go somewhere beautiful, how she'd never been anywhere in her life. Every time she saw someone else's tropical vacation photos, she'd show Michael. "Look at this. Look how happy they are. I wish I could go somewhere like that. I wish someone loved me enough to take me somewhere special." And Michael heard every word, every hint, every dream she shared about walking on that beach, drinking those drinks, feeling like a queen in paradise. So Michael made a plan. A secret plan that would take him 6 months to pull off. A plan that would cost him $8,400. Money he didn't have. Money he would have to work 3 jobs to save. While Jamaica slept in on weekends, Michael was out mowing lawns for $20 each. While she got her nails done, Michael was working double shifts at the restaurant. While she bought new clothes, Michael was eating peanut butter sandwiches for lunch to save money. $8,400. Do you know how long it takes to save that much money when you're already living paycheck to paycheck? When you've got 5 kids and rent and car payments and groceries? It took Michael 6 months of saying no to everything. No new clothes for himself, no going out with friends, no little treats or extras. Everything went into a secret savings account that Jamaica didn't know about. But here's what Michael never told anyone: he wasn't just saving for Jamaica. He was saving for an escape plan. The vacation was going to be his final gift to Jamaica before he asked for a divorce. He'd already contacted a lawyer, already started making plans to leave with the kids. The Jamaica trip was his way of giving her one last beautiful memory before he broke her heart. Michael had finally realized that no amount of love could fix what was broken in their relationship. But he wanted to do it right, wanted to show her one last time how much he'd cared, before walking away forever. The extra work was killing him. Michael was already working 14-hour days, and now he was adding weekend lawn care, late-night restaurant shifts, and every odd job he could find. He was losing weight, getting sick more often, looking older than his 32 years. But every time he deposited another $100 into that secret account, he smiled because he was building something. He was creating a moment that would change everything. And finally, in March of 2025, he had enough. Enough for the flights, the hotel, the meals, the excursions, everything she'd ever dreamed about. Michael spent hours researching the perfect resort, reading reviews, comparing prices, making sure every detail would be perfect. He booked everything himself. 5 days, 4 nights at a beautiful resort in Montego Bay, all-inclusive, the works. He even booked a couple's massage and a sunset dinner on the beach. Then came the surprise. March 15, 2025. Michael came home from work with a big envelope, called all the kids into the living room, set up his phone to record. "Tasha," he said, "I got something for you." She opened that envelope and saw the plane tickets, the hotel reservation, the itinerary, and she screamed, cried, fell to her knees, hugged him so tight like she never wanted to let him go. The video went viral on her social media. "My man booked my dream vacation. I don't deserve this man. Jamaica, here we come." The comments were everything Michael hoped for. Relationship goals. "You got a good man, girl. When is it my turn, God?" For once, Jamaica was posting about Michael being amazing. For once, she was showing the world how much he loved her. For once, Michael felt like he'd done something right. But if Michael had known what would happen on that trip, if he had known that his dream gift would turn into a nightmare, if he had known that those 5 days in paradise would be the last 5 days of his life, he might have kept that $8,400 in the bank. He might have stayed home. He might have lived to see his kids grow up. But Michael didn't know. How could he? All he knew was that for the first time in years, his wife was happy. His wife was grateful. His wife was posting about how amazing he was. And for Michael, that was worth every penny he'd saved, worth every extra hour he'd worked, worth everything, even his life. April 18, 2025. The plane touched down in Montego Bay, Jamaica. Michael and Jamaica stepped off that plane into paradise. Warm air, ocean breeze, the smell of salt water and freedom. For the first time in years, Michael wasn't thinking about work, wasn't thinking about bills, wasn't thinking about anything except making his wife happy. The resort was everything the pictures promised. All-inclusive meant they could eat whatever they wanted, drink whatever they wanted, do whatever they wanted. No worrying about money, no checking prices, just pure luxury. And for the first day, it was perfect. They walked on the beach holding hands, took pictures by the water, drank fruity drinks with little umbrellas. Michael had never seen Jamaica so relaxed, so happy, so grateful. That first night, they had dinner on the beach. Candles, waves crashing, stars overhead. Jamaica posted picture after picture. "This is what dreams are made of. My husband is amazing. Living my best life." Michael felt like he was finally winning. Finally being the husband she deserved. But paradise has a way of showing people who they really are. When you take away all the stress, all the distractions, all the excuses, what's left is just you. The real you. Day 2 started perfect. They slept in, ordered room service, planned to spend the whole day at the beach. But then Michael's phone rang. It was his boss from the construction job. There was a problem with a project. Nothing major. Just needed Michael to make a quick call to straighten things out. "Baby, I just got to handle this real quick," Michael told Jamaica. 5 minutes. I promise. 5 minutes. That's all it was. 5 minutes to solve a work problem so they could enjoy the rest of their vacation in peace. But Jamaica, she heard that phone ring and something inside her snapped. "Are you kidding me right now?" she yelled. "We're in Jamaica, Michael. Jamaica. And you're taking work calls?" Michael tried to calm her down. "Baby, it's just 5 minutes. I promise. Then I'm all yours for the rest of the trip." But it was too late. The switch had flipped. The Jamaica from back home, the angry one, the violent one, the one who couldn't let anything go. She was back. She stormed out of the room, slammed the door so hard the picture frames rattled. Left Michael standing there in paradise, feeling like he'd ruined everything with one phone call. For 3 hours, she was gone. Wouldn't answer her phone. Wouldn't respond to texts. Michael walked the resort looking for her, apologizing to empty air, promising he'd never take another work call again. The other guests stared at him. This man walking around a beautiful resort, looking lost and desperate, calling out for his wife like a little boy who'd lost his mother. When she finally came back, she acted like nothing happened. Like she hadn't just spent 3 hours punishing him for trying to be responsible. Like she hadn't just turned their dream vacation into a nightmare with her temper. They made up that night on the beach. Michael apologized over and over. Promised to turn his phone off for the rest of the trip. Promised to focus only on her. And Jamaica, she posted a picture of them together with the caption, "You're my whole world, Michael. Jamaica vibes forever." Looking at that picture now, knowing what happened next, you can see it in Michael's eyes. He's not happy. He's relieved. Relieved that she's not mad anymore. Relieved that he hadn't ruined the vacation he'd worked so hard to give her. He spent $8,400 to make her happy, and he was walking on eggshells in paradise, afraid to make her angry again. The rest of the trip was good, great even. They took more pictures, made more memories. Jamaica posted constantly about how amazing everything was, how perfect Michael was, how blessed she felt. But Michael was counting down the days until they could go home. Because even in paradise, he wasn't safe from her anger. Even after giving her everything she'd ever wanted, he was still walking on eggshells. April 20th, 2025, Easter Sunday. They flew home with suitcases full of souvenirs and phones full of perfect pictures. Jamaica fell asleep on the plane with her head on Michael's shoulder, smiling in her dreams about the best vacation of her life. Michael stared out the window at the clouds, probably thinking about getting back to work. Back to reality, back to taking care of his family. He had no idea that he had less than 12 hours to live. No idea that the woman sleeping peacefully on his shoulder would be the one to kill him. No idea that their dream vacation would become evidence in a murder trial. Because sometimes giving someone everything they want isn't enough. Sometimes love isn't enough. Sometimes all the sacrifice in the world can't save you from someone who was never worthy of it in the first place. Easter Sunday morning, April 20th, 2025. The house was full of joy. 5 little kids running around in their Easter clothes, hunting for eggs, eating chocolate, laughing the way children do when life is simple and safe. Michael was in the kitchen making breakfast, probably tired from the long flight home, probably already thinking about going back to work the next day, but still smiling, still being the dad his kids needed. Jamaica was different. Quiet. The vacation glow was already fading. Reality was setting in. Bills waiting on the counter. Laundry piling up. Life calling her back from paradise. Now, y'all, I want you to understand something. Michael wasn't perfect. No man is. And on that Easter morning, he made a mistake. A tiny mistake that most couples would talk through and forget about by dinner. He looked at their bank account. $8,400 for Jamaica. Plus the money they'd spent while they were there, plus the bills that had piled up while they were gone. The account was overdrawn. Not by much, but enough to matter when you're living paycheck to paycheck. So Michael did what responsible husbands do. He brought it up. "Hey, baby," he said, "we need to talk about money. The account is overdrawn. I think we need to make a budget. Figure out how to get back on track." Those words, "we need to talk about money." After the best vacation of her life, after he'd just given her everything she'd ever wanted, after she'd spent 5 days posting about how amazing he was, Jamaica heard criticism. She heard blame. She heard him taking away her joy. "Don't start, Michael," she said. "Don't you dare start with me today."
If you're enjoying this story, kindly do us a favor and subscribe to our channel. It is free and won't cost anything, but it means the world to us. We're just a small channel trying to grow. Thank you, and back to the video.
But Michael wasn't starting anything. He was trying to be responsible, trying to figure out how to pay the bills and take care of his family. The same thing he'd been doing for 17 years. "I'm not starting anything," he said. "I just think we need to be careful. Maybe eat out less. Maybe what?" Jamaica snapped. "Maybe you shouldn't have taken me to Jamaica if we couldn't afford it. Maybe you should have thought about that before playing big shot." You'll hear that? Michael saves for 6 months, works 3 jobs, gives her the vacation of her dreams, and now she's mad at him for spending the money. Mad at him for the overdrawn account. Mad at him for trying to fix the problem. Michael tried to stay calm. He always tried to stay calm. Baby, that's not what I'm saying. I wanted to take you to Jamaica. I'm glad we went. I just think I can't do this today, Michael. I can't. Not today. She grabbed her keys, headed for the door. Michael knew that walk, knew that anger, knew she was about to leave and not come back for hours, leaving him to explain to the kids where Mommy went on Easter Sunday. So, he followed her. Barefoot, still in his pajamas, just trying to calm her down. Tasha, wait. Let's just talk about this. But she was already in the car, engine running, hands gripping the steering wheel like it was the only thing keeping her sane. Michael stood in front of the car, not blocking her in, not being aggressive, just standing there, hands up, trying to get her to calm down. The neighbors were watching now. Mrs. Johnson from next door, the Martinez family from across the street, little kids on bikes who'd stopped to see what was happening. Everyone could see this was about to go bad. Move, Michael. Baby, just talk to me. The kids are watching. It's Easter. Let's just go inside. I said move. What happened next took 3 seconds. 3 seconds that changed everything. 3 seconds that turned 5 children into orphans and a wife into a killer. Jamaica put the car in drive. She pressed the gas pedal. She hit Michael at 25 miles per hour. Michael flew 15 feet, hit the pavement hard. His head cracked against the curb. Blood everywhere. His body twisted in ways bodies aren't supposed to twist. The neighbors came running. Someone called 911. Someone else tried to help Michael, but it was too late. Too much damage. Too much blood. And Jamaica, she sat in that car screaming, crying. It was an accident. It was an accident. He jumped in front of the car. But the neighbors saw everything. They saw her hit the gas. They saw Michael try to get out of the way. They saw a woman use her car as a weapon against the man who'd just given her the world. The paramedics worked on Michael for 20 minutes. Tried everything, but some things can't be fixed. Some damage can't be undone. Michael was pronounced dead at 11:47 a.m. on Easter Sunday 2025. 2 days after posting pictures from the best vacation of his life. 5 hours after making breakfast for his kids. 3 minutes after trying to have a responsible conversation about money. The kids saw everything. All 5 of them. Watched their mother kill their father. Watched their world end on what should have been a day of celebration and joy. Miss Linda got the call at church. Had to leave Easter service to identify her son's body. Had to look at the boy she'd raised, the man who'd worked 3 jobs to take care of his family, lying on a metal table because the woman he loved had run him down like a dog in the street. And Jamaica. While Michael's blood was still on the pavement, while the kids were crying in the neighbor's house, while Miss Linda was falling to her knees in that hospital hallway, Jamaica was already calling it an accident. Already lying, already protecting herself, already making Michael's death about her pain, her trauma, her accident. The man who'd saved for 6 months to take her to Jamaica was dead. And she was already rewriting the story to make herself the victim. But here's the thing about the truth. It doesn't stay buried. And there were too many witnesses, too much evidence, too much history of violence for anyone to believe this was just a tragic accident. The police had questions. The neighbors had answers. And Miss Linda had stories. Stories about bruises, stories about broken phones, stories about a son who was afraid of the woman he loved. But the biggest shock came when the police searched Michael's phone. They found the videos. Hours of footage Michael had been secretly recording, documenting years of abuse. Videos he'd been sending to his brother, videos that painted a clear picture of a man living in fear. And then they found something else. Michael's journal. Entries dating back months, detailing his plans to leave Jamaica after the Jamaica trip. His fears that she might hurt him if she found out. His desperate hope that maybe, just maybe, she could change. The final entry, written the night before they left for Jamaica, broke everyone's heart. If something happens to me, I want my kids to know I love them. I tried to make it work. I tried to love her enough for both of us. But I can't live like this anymore. After Jamaica, I'm done. I just hope she lets me go peacefully. Justice was coming for Shamika. Slowly but surely, because Michael deserved justice. The kids deserved justice. And the truth deserved to be told. Even if it took a murder trial to tell it. The arrest came 3 days later. Shamika was charged with second-degree murder. Not manslaughter, not vehicular homicide. Murder. Because the evidence was clear. She'd used her car as a weapon, and Michael was dead because of it. The courtroom was packed every day of the trial. Miss Linda in the front row, holding pictures of her son. The 5 kids staying with relatives, trying to understand how their mother could be in jail and their father could be gone forever. Shamika's defense was simple. It was an accident. She was upset. She was backing out. Michael jumped in front of the car. Just a tragic misunderstanding between 2 people who loved each other. But the prosecution had a different story to tell. A story about years of abuse, about a pattern of violence, about a woman who'd finally gone too far. They brought in the neighbors who'd heard the fights, the co-workers who'd seen Michael's bruises, the phone records showing the broken devices, Miss Linda's testimony about the marks on her son's arms. They showed the vacation pictures, Michael looking tired even in paradise, the social media posts where Shamika bragged about him doing everything for her, the bank records showing him working 3 jobs while she spent money on herself. They played the secret recordings Michael had made, his voice shaking as he documented the abuse. They read from his journal, his growing desperation clear in every word. And then came the moment that sealed Shamika's fate. The moment that showed the courtroom exactly who she really was. The prosecution played the 911 call. Shamika's voice, panicked and crying, telling the operator it was an accident. But then they played Mrs. Johnson's phone video. The one that showed Michael trying to calm her down. The one that showed her hitting the gas on purpose. The one that proved she was lying. When that video played in court, when everyone saw the truth of what happened, Natasha did something that shocked everyone in that room. She laughed. Sitting right there at the defendant's table, watching video of herself killing her husband, watching Michael die all over again, she laughed. Like it was funny. Like Michael's death was some kind of joke only she understood. But that wasn't the worst part. As the laughter died down, she leaned over to her lawyer and whispered, loud enough for the microphone to pick up, "He finally shut up." The jury saw it. The judge saw it. Miss Linda saw it. And in that moment, everyone knew exactly what kind of person Natasha really was. The trial lasted 2 weeks. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. 4 hours to decide the fate of a woman who'd killed the man who'd given her everything. Guilty. Second-degree murder. 25 years to life. But justice wasn't finished yet. Miss Linda spoke at the sentencing, held a picture of Michael, and told the court about the son she'd lost, the man who'd worked 3 jobs, the father who'd died trying to keep his family together. "She took my baby," Miss Linda said. "She took my grandbaby's daddy. She took everything good and pure from this world and left us with nothing but pain." But then something unexpected happened. The judge, a stern woman in her 60s, did something unprecedented. She sentenced Natasha to the maximum, life without the possibility of parole. "In my 30 years on this bench," the judge said, "I have never seen such callous disregard for human life. Your laughter in this courtroom, your complete lack of remorse, your attempt to make yourself the victim, it shows a level of evil that cannot be reformed. You will never hurt another person again." The courtroom erupted. Michael's family wept with relief. Even hardened court reporters were seen wiping their eyes. But the judge wasn't done. She also ordered that all of Natasha's assets, including the house Michael had worked 3 jobs to pay for, be put in trust for the children. Every penny she'd ever spent on herself while Michael suffered would now go to the kids he'd died trying to protect. The kids are living with Miss Linda now. 5 children trying to understand how their mother could kill their father. How the woman who was supposed to protect them became the person they needed protection from. As for Natasha, she's serving her sentence at the Women's Correctional Facility upstate. She still claims it was an accident, but she never talks about missing Michael. Never apologizes for taking a father away from his children. Never acknowledges that her actions destroyed a family. But here's what she doesn't know. In a final twist that would have made Michael smile, his brother had been secretly recording their phone calls for months, calls where Michael detailed the abuse, where he talked about his escape plan, where he said he was afraid Natasha might kill him if she found out he was leaving. Those recordings became key evidence in a civil suit that stripped Natasha of any rights to Michael's life insurance, his pension, everything. The kids will never want for anything, thanks to their father's sacrifice and the legal system that finally, truly served justice. Michael's funeral was beautiful. Hundreds of people came to say goodbye to a man who touched so many lives. His co-workers spoke about his work ethic. His neighbors spoke about his kindness. His children spoke about how much they loved their daddy. The church was full of flowers. The kids each placed a rose on his casket. Miss Linda held his picture and whispered, "Sleep easy, baby. Mama's got the kids." He deserved better. He deserved a woman who appreciated his sacrifices. He deserved to watch his children grow up. He deserved to live. But Michael's story isn't just about death. It's about love, about sacrifice, about a man who gave everything he had to people who mattered to him. And maybe that's the lesson here. Maybe Michael's death can save someone else's life. Maybe someone listening to this will recognize the signs, the bruises, the broken phones, the walking on eggshells, the fear disguised as love. If that someone is you, if you're living Michael's life right now, please know this: love doesn't hurt. Love doesn't leave marks. Love doesn't make you afraid to come home. Real love builds you up. Real love supports your dreams. Real love never, ever puts you in danger. In the end, justice wasn't just served, it was delivered with the full weight of a community that loved Michael Taylor. Natasha will never see freedom again. The children are safe, provided for, and surrounded by love. And Michael's memory lives on in every life his story saves, every person who recognizes the signs and gets help before it's too late. This has been Joe Rivers with Daily Family Crimes. Michael Taylor died because someone he trusted decided his life didn't matter. But in death, his story has saved countless others. His love for his children continues to provide for them. And his sacrifice reminds us all that real love should never cost you your life. If this story touched your heart, if you believe victims like Michael deserve to have their stories told, please hit that like button and subscribe to Daily Family Crimes. Share this story with someone who needs to hear it, because together we can make sure that victims like Michael are never forgotten. Remember, love should never cost you your life. Justice may be slow, but when it comes completely. Thank you for watching, thank you for caring, and thank you for helping us seek justice for those who can no longer speak for themselves.